Yeah, Kelsey's good. Just when she went down, I stroked out a little bit, and so just made the decision right then. She's going to get ready for Sunday. They did a great job. I'm really proud of our great team. I mean, we compete every day. They compete in every drill against the blue team. That second, third quarter, 30 points, just way too many. Resiliency that our players showed, you know, starting 1-8, and then to have clinched a playoff spot with 7 games remaining.
Remember when the Indiana Fever couldn't even sniff the playoffs? Well, they just ended a 7-year drought, and now, with Kelsey Mitchell's status up in the air, things are getting wild. You won't believe what's about to go down in this WNBA playoff series. Here's the deal. The Fever are facing the Connecticut Sun in a best-of-3 showdown. It's like David versus Goliath, but with basketballs. And get this, Kelsey Mitchell, their star player, might not even be 100%. Talk about drama. But you know what's crazier? ESPN is out here acting like the Fever don't stand a chance. They're basically writing them off before the first tip-off. But let me tell you, this Fever team isn't backing down. They've got something to prove, and they're ready to shock the world. Are you ready for some serious WNBA playoff action? Because it's about to get real.
The hottest team in the WNBA right now is the Indiana Fever. Kelsey Mitchell has been balling. Lexi Hall has been an X factor, and that was a great chess move, just getting this lineup with chemistry. But make no mistake, as for this win streak, though, Caitlin has created 224 points between points scored herself and points assisted. That's almost 45 points per game, and the most by any player ever during a 5-game win.
ESPN might be sleeping on the Fever, but they're about to get a rude awakening. Remember Kelsey Mitchell? She's not just good anymore. She's rewriting the WNBA record books. What she did this season is something we've never seen before. Let's talk about Kelsey Mitchell's incredible transformation this year. She didn't just level up, she blasted off into another basketball dimension. Mitchell averaged a career-high 19.6 points per game this season. That's not just a little improvement. That's a massive leap that put her among the WNBA's elite scorers. But wait, it gets even better. Mitchell earned her second All-Star selection this season, proving she's no one-hit wonder. She's been steadily climbing the ranks, and now she's firmly established herself as one of the league's top talent. You want to know when Mitchell really turned on the afterburners? After the Olympic break, she went absolutely nuclear, averaging 25.6 points per game on 51.4% shooting. And get this, she was draining threes at a 44.8% clip and nailing 92% of her free throws. That's not just good, that's video game numbers. Here's something that'll blow your mind. Mitchell became the first player in WNBA history to average over 25 points per game while shooting 55% from 2-point range, 40% from 3-point range, and 90% from the free throw line over a 5-game stretch. That's not just breaking records, that's shattering them into tiny pieces. But you know what's even more impressive than Mitchell's stats? Her mindset. She's not just playing for herself, she's on a mission to change the Fever's entire culture. Mitchell said, "I know what the bottom feels like, and I don't want to be there no more." That's the kind of fire and determination that turns good players into legends. And speaking of legends, Mitchell's shooting efficiency this season puts her in some seriously elite company. We're talking about a level of scoring and shooting percentages that only a handful of guards in WNBA history have ever achieved. She's not just playing well, she's playing historically well. Even her teammates are in awe of what Mitchell's doing. Caitlin Clark, no slouch herself, couldn't help but gush about Mitchell's performances. Clark said, "I honestly thought she deserved to be player of the month. Just what she was doing, and at the clip she was doing it this month. I think she was like 50, 40, 90 this month, which is really hard to do. When you've got other stars singing your praises like that, you know you're doing something special." Mitchell's incredible run had fans dreaming big, but those dreams nearly turned into nightmares in an instant. Remember that last game against the Mystics? A single play sent shockwaves through the entire league and left everyone wondering, would the Fever's playoff hopes survive? Picture this. It's the first quarter, and Mitchell's on fire as usual. She's driving to the basket, ready to add another highlight to her reel, then bam! She collides with a Mystics player under the hoop. The whole arena goes silent. Mitchell's limping. Fever fans are holding their breath. Is this the moment that derails their playoff dreams? At first, Mitchell tries to tough it out. She's a warrior, right? But you can see it in her stride. Something's not right. Coach Christy Sides isn't taking any chances. Midway through the first quarter, she makes the call. Mitchell's out for the rest of the game. Talk about a gut punch to Fever Nation. You should have seen social media explode. Fans were losing their minds, wondering if Mitchell would be ready for the playoffs. I mean, can you blame them? This is Kelsey Mitchell we're talking about. The same player who's been lighting up scoreboards and breaking records all season. Without her, the Fever's playoff chances look about as solid as a house of cards in a hurricane. But here's where it gets good. After the game, Coach Sides drops a bombshell that has everyone breathing a sigh of relief. She says, "Kelsey is good. She's a warrior." Just like that, hope is restored. But wait, there's more. Mitchell herself chimes in saying, "I didn't think anything major. I think we have to be precautionary. It's nothing major." Can you believe it? In the span of a few hours, Fever fans went from the depths of despair to cloud 9. Mitchell's not just expected to play in the playoffs, she's ready to lead the charge. This is the kind of resilience that separates good players from legends. Think about what this means for the Fever. They're not just entering the playoffs, they're storming in with their superstar at full strength. Mitchell's determination to bounce back from this scare is exactly why she's become the heart and soul of this team. She's not just playing for herself, she's playing for every fan who's stuck with the Fever through thick and thin. Remember when Mitchell said she knows what the bottom feels like and doesn't want to be there anymore? This injury scare is just another obstacle she's ready to overcome. It's like the basketball gods are throwing everything they can at her, and she's swatting it all away like weak layup attempts. So here we are on the brink of the playoffs, and the Fever have their secret weapon locked and loaded. Mitchell's not just ready to play, she's got something to prove. This is the kind of storyline that makes sports so incredible. One moment, you're on top of the world. The next, everything's hanging by a thread. But true champions, they rise above it all. Champions rise, but critics pounce. The Fever's playoff spot is locked, but ESPN's not buying the hype. Their take on Indiana's chances. Let's just say it's colder than a Midwest winter. You know how it goes in sports. One minute you're on top, the next you're scraping the bottom. The Indiana Fever just clawed their way into the playoffs after a 7-year drought, but ESPN's experts are already trying to rain on their parade. Can you believe it? These analysts are out here acting like the Fever's playoff run is going to be shorter than a TikTok video. Here's the deal, ESPN's got some of their big shot analysts predicting the Fever will get swept by the Connecticut Sun. Swept! Like, they won't even win a single game. That's harsh, right? But here's where it gets interesting. While ESPN's throwing shade, the Fever have been quietly building momentum. They've won 17 of their last 27 games. That's not just good, that's a complete turnaround from earlier in the season. But let's be real for a second. The Fever have had a tough time against the Sun this season. Kelsey Mitchell, their superstar, has been averaging only 14.3 points per game against them. That's tied for her lowest scoring output against any team. It's like the Sun have got her number or something. And it's not just Mitchell. The whole team has struggled against the Sun. Before their recent win, they lost 3 games to Connecticut by some pretty big margins. We're talking about an 11-game losing streak to the Sun before they finally broke through. That's enough to make any team doubt themselves. But you know what? The Fever aren't buying into the doom and gloom. Coach Christy Sides is out here talking like she's got a secret weapon up her sleeve. She's all confident, saying the team has improved and is ready for the playoffs. It's like she's looking at ESPN's predictions and saying, "Challenge accepted." Remember that game on August 28th? The Fever beat the Sun 84-80. That wasn't just a win, that was a statement. It was like the Fever looked at their 11-game losing streak to the Sun and said, "Not today." That victory, it's more than just 2 points in the win column. It's a confidence booster. It's proof that they can hang with the big dogs. So here we are on the brink of the playoffs. ESPN's got their predictions. The Fever have got their determination. The stage is set for what could be one of the biggest upsets in WNBA playoff history. The Fever aren't just playing for a championship, they're playing to prove every doubter wrong. While everyone's buzzing about Mitchell's playoff status, there's another player quietly changing the game for the Fever. She's fresh out of college, breaking records and dishing out assists like it's going out of style. Is she the missing piece in Indiana's championship puzzle? Let's talk about Caitlin Clark, the rookie sensation who's been turning heads all season. This isn't just any rookie. We're talking about the #1 draft pick and likely rookie of the year.
She's the first rookie to win WNBA Player of the Month since the award's inception in 2010, and last night it was no exception. They were sky high for Caitlin Clark and the Fever, but to start the season, they had a little bit of a rough go of it. They lost their first 5 games. They ended up 1-8 through their first 9 games, and during that first month, the playoffs, they didn't feel realistic at all. Indy entered the Olympic break 11-15 on the year, and then they really turned it around. They've won 7 of their 8 since. They clinched a playoff berth for the first time since 2016, which, by the way, was the last year of Hall of Famer and franchise icon Tamika Clark.
Clark's been putting up numbers that make veterans do a double take. Check this out. Clark's averaging 19.2 points per game. That's not just good for a rookie, that's good for anyone in the league. But here's where it gets crazy. She's leading the entire WNBA in assists with 8.4 per game. A rookie leading the league in assists? That's unheard of. But Clark isn't just about personal stats. She's transforming the entire Fever offense. With Clark on the court, the Fever have the highest scoring backcourt in the league. Think about that for a second. A team that couldn't make the playoffs for 7 years now has the most explosive guard duo in the WNBA. You know what's even crazier? Clark and Mitchell aren't just good individually, they're like peanut butter and jelly on the court. Clark's playmaking ability is the perfect complement to Mitchell's scoring prowess. It's like they were made to play together. Imagine you're a defender trying to guard these two. You focus on Mitchell, and suddenly Clark's threading a pass through impossible angles. You try to stop Clark's drive, and Mitchell's drilling a 3 in your face. It's a nightmare for opposing teams. Clark's impact goes beyond just stats. She's got this ability to attract defensive attention, which opens up the floor for everyone else. It's like she's got a gravitational pull that creates space for her teammates. And Mitchell, she's loving every second of it. Listen to what Mitchell said about playing with Clark. "I feel lucky to have a backcourt mate who has been at this for 7 years and has really helped me and kind of let me flourish." That's a 7-year vet praising a rookie. You don't hear that every day. Now, think about what this means for the Fever's playoff chances. ESPN might be doubting them, but they haven't factored in the Clark effect. This isn't just about one superstar carrying the team anymore. It's about a dynamic duo that can attack from all angles. Against a tough team like the Connecticut Sun, having 2 offensive threats like Clark and Mitchell could be a game changer. The Sun can't just focus on shutting down one player. They've got to deal with Clark's playmaking and Mitchell's scoring at the same time. That's a tall order for any defense. So here we are, on the edge of our seats, wondering if the Fever can pull off the impossible. Kelsey Mitchell's back in action, the team's on fire, and Caitlin Clark's changing the game. But ESPN, they're not buying it. They think the Fever's gonna crash and burn against the Sun. But you know what? This Fever team isn't backing down. They've got Mitchell scoring, Clark's assists, and a whole lot of heart. Can they shock the world and make a deep playoff run? That's the million-dollar question. You don't want to miss this. The Fever are about to write their own Cinderella story, and you've got front row seats. So gear up, Fever fans. It's time to show the world what Indiana basketball is all about. Who's ready to see some history in the making?